guys, today we'll be talking about the new craze of Sephora kids. So what's a Sephora kid? According to the online definition, a Sephora kid is a child or preteen who is usually from a 7-year-old to a 14-year-old who is very obsessed with skincare and makeup. So why did I choose to talk about this today? Because I feel like many of my classmates and my friends have a really extensive skincare and makeup collection, and they talk about going to Sephora as their dream holiday. So I decided to talk about why kids are suddenly the new target demo of makeup. So I think there's two main things that have led kids to become the Sephora kid and actually knows that they can go to Sephora. They actually know Sephora exists. So how did they do that? So first, I think algorithm. Many of the Sephora kids are Gen Alphas, which is the first generation to be born into a world where ever since they were born or since their young childhood, they can actually own an iPad. And many of these kids have social media. So why are these kids' parents allowing them to use social media? Well, along with the rise of the Sephora kids, there's also the rise of the soft parents. So who are the people raising the Gen Alphas? The millennials. And who raised the millennials? Boomers and Gen X. And they lived through many difficult things. So they prioritize discipline. Well, most of them did. I'm not saying every single one. And it was likely that millennials swore off ever being cruel in their eyes to the children. And they decided to do soft parenting instead, which is basically where both the parent and the kid have a say in what's going to happen, and it's like a democracy. On paper and in perfect practice, this is the best thing ever. However, this doesn't always happen. Sometimes not everyone get to have all the time in the world to do soft parenting. So what ends up happening is the parents just end up letting the kid do whatever they want as long as they are not a trouble or a nuisance to the parent. So if the kid's bored, then the parents will just shove an iPad to the kid and let the kid entertain itself. And so became the age of kids on social media. And if you look at social media now, you will find that there are many Gen Alpha influencers. So how did this happen? Did they just wake up one day and decide to be an influencer? Well, they must have been influenced by someone to tell them to do this. So aside from the algorithm and their iPad, who else could be pushing them to do this? Their parents. Because as humans, what we do is basically model ourselves off of something and learn to be more like whoever we're modeling ourselves after. So who are the kids modeling themselves after? Well, one thing would be the parents. So obviously, some of their traits are from their parents, which means the parents might share a little bit of the blame too. And as I said before, they have access to social media now. And when you have access to social media, then your role model not just becomes the people around you, but everyone and anyone on social media. And who are the everyone on social media? People who are young, beautiful, doesn't have to go to school, either homeschooled or dropped out or whatever, and just having fun all day, posting videos, some of them beauty ones. And the kids strive to be like that. They didn't know that very little people can become that successful doing that, and they end up branding themselves after a random person on TikTok that they don't even know in real life and doesn't know what this person are. However, that is not relevant. Who needs to know someone when they can tell you how to be a girl properly? And why do you need to think for yourself of, oh, why shouldn't I put on makeup, when you can just go along with everyone else and put on makeup? And so became the craze of Sephora kids. However, I think to this pandemic, there's two things. So one is starting it, but then why have the craze not died down? Because no one's putting a stop to it. The people who's profiting from this are enjoying it, and they are not putting a stop to this craze of the Sephora kids. So who are the people that are profiting off the Sephora kids going into Sephora, convincing their parents to get them $1,000 Sephora hauls? That's right, Sephora and the brands. It's not the kids who are damaging their skin barrier, and they're going to regret that in a couple years when their skin is no longer the state it should be and is exceptionally weak and will need even more skincare to help us stay young and healthy, which will generate even more cash for the beauty industry. And so people who's really profiting out of this are obviously Sephora and the beauty giants that are selling these products. Why wouldn't the beauty giants be profiting? Because they're selling these products to these kids, and these kids are buying them and generating lots of cash. And in 2024, one of the super viral brands, Drunk Elephant, released a statement saying that many of our products are suitable for these kids' skin. However, they should stay away from the retinol and acid that the products that contain these ingredients. So that part's not responsible, but then they also included a skincare routine that included 5 products, and how much those products cost, it all adds up to $186. Don't you just want to spend $186 on a skincare routine that I don't think you even need? So yeah, however, Drunk Elephant isn't all bad. More on that later. And then there's other ways of making these kids the target demo. The brands are armed to the teeth to target even younger and younger audiences, such as the Charlotte Tilbury and Disney campaign, where they coupled up with Disney to create these new princess makeup looks. And what does these looks contain? Stuff that usually only adults use. So there's blush, mascara, or was it eyeliner? I actually don't really remember. And then lip liner and lipstick. So these are makeup. These are not for children. These are not skincare anymore. So they are reimagining every princess look with these makeup, and kids are buying them. It's working. So who are the target demo of Disney then? Likely elementary and preschool kids. So these kids are going to be buying these makeup as well because they're targeted. And even if they don't know Charlotte Tilbury is a thing, they are going to want these things even if they're not a Sephora kid, because it's partnered up with Disney. I might buy this because I like Disney. So it's truly marketed from every angle. Like, wow, that is really I don't even know how to say. It's really, should I say scary or should I say impressive? Probably both. I don't know how they think up these ideas. However, these kids are going to be killing their skin, so I really don't think they should be using these anymore. But the beauty industry is clearly booming. In 2025, the net worth of the beauty industry was valued to be about $650 to $700 billion, and that was the net worth of the beauty industry in 2025. It's global, by the way, so that is a lot of money, and I think that no wonder the beauty giants are not putting a stop to it. They are earning so much money from selling kids makeup. However, I do think that this is wrong because I don't think kids should be using makeup. And as I've said many times before, in the long term, it's going to be harmful to their skin. So I do think that brands should come out and be like, oh no, we're not selling to kids because it's not going to be good for their skin. And as I said about like 5 minutes before, Drunk Elephant actually came and did this statement earlier this year in January 2026, and they said that they are actually not a kids brand, and their target demo are adults, and they want to be selling to adults instead of kids, and they would like to distance themselves from the Sephora kids craze. And I think that is good because they are coming out saying, oh, we're not selling to kids, and they are taking responsibility actually. And I think that brands should do that because it's not fair on the kids that they are the ones unknowingly purchasing these because they have been brainwashed and thinks that they can only be cool and be a normal girl if they follow the algorithm and get these products. And I am a Gen Alpha myself, so I obviously hope our generation to be wow and happy, and I hope that it ends up turning wow, and I hope you'll have a nice time, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye!